Welcome to Backroom Talk. Okay, Casey.
I think with COVID, online training kind of had its moment. You know, we've known about it for the last few years, but a lot of other people didn't take it seriously. And that was a huge validator. I don't think, the rise of Peloton and Apple Fitness Plus and these other streaming services, I don't think trainers and coaches really have to worry too much about those. It serves a different type of customer, a different market. If anything, I think it'll only get more people into fitness.
To listen to more Backroom Talk, be sure to subscribe. Learn to design personalized programs with the OPEX system of coaching by heading to opexfit.com.
It'd be great just to hear from you a little bit about what was your role at TrueCoach, and then we'll get into some of the minutiae around that.
I feel like my role changed every 3 to 6 months. Obviously my role when I first started the company, when it was just me kind of solo for the first year, was very, very different from what it looked like the last 6 months kind of post acquisition. And along the way, every 3 to 6 months, I felt like my job changed. I needed to evolve and figure out how to make the next step in the evolution work. Carl, I'm sure you're going through that now with your new role as CEO. And different points of your evolution and journey require different skill sets and a lot of growth.
Yeah, take us back to when did you start FitBot, man? Was that 2015 or 2016?
January 2015. Yeah. So I was a remote client back in 2012 when it was James, Max, James Taylor, and I think maybe Matt Bryant was around, and a few of the other OGs. And started as a remote client. We were doing everything through email, and I felt for every minute I spent working out, I was spending another minute just trying to gather my results and notes and video and get them back to my coach, and figured there had to be a better way after doing that for a little while. Got sick of it enough and talked with a lot of other coaches, and I found a lot of pen and paper, email, and spreadsheets, and just trying to mishmatch a hodgepodge of services together, try to get their jobs done. And saw an opportunity, and wanted to scratch that itch of the pain point that I was experiencing myself, and try and help trainers and coaches and gym owners. I think it's a super important industry, super important profession that is underserved and undervalued. And, it's unfortunate that, the industry is kind of set up, I feel, to churn and burn them out. I don't know the exact statistic, but the majority churn out before their first year. So I hope that I've been able to put a positive dent in that over the last, almost 6 years. Very excited to see where the industry is going.
What made you think you were capable of building that thing, man? Like, what was it? Something in your background? Do you have development background? Like, what was it?
Yeah, so I had an interesting background. I was a computer science degree, got a job as a web developer after college. Then kind of got bored of that. My then girlfriend, now wife, was a personal trainer. She was into CrossFit. She got me into CrossFit back in 2009. And at the end of 2010, she asked me if I wanted to open a gym, and jumped all over that opportunity. Learned a ton about the fitness industry then. So I was kind of able to, combine two of my big passions, fitness and technology and software, and merge them together to form this business. And it's been an awesome ride.
What was the process of building that thing initially like?
Yeah, so the first month, I didn't write a single line of code. I just tried to talk to as many coaches as possible and pick their brains and really learn about, what the true pain point was. I wasn't a coach, so I wasn't a coach, kind of more on the sidelines with our CrossFit affiliate. Um, so I saw some, but I really needed to pick the brains of the people that were in the trenches doing it every single day. Um, and definitely saw some common themes develop after talking with them. So yeah, first month was just talking to coaches, and then after that, kind of got to work and went heads down for a little while, just to get the product far enough along the beta. Got to a beta that summer, and started getting coaches in actually using the product, and continued the theme of talking with coaches throughout that. And use a lot of that early feedback to continue to guide the evolution of the product. So it's a lot of hard work, a lot of talking to customers.
Yeah, man, that's what I think about when I think back to, when FitBot first got going. And I think I mentioned this to you in our call a couple of weeks ago, but I was like, man, how the fuck did you answer every single question? Because I remember being like, I'd be at my computer at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm first rolling with this FitBot thing, and it's like, chat with support. So I like pull up the chat box, and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And it's like Casey's face comes up, and he's answering questions 30 seconds later. And no matter what time it was like 30 seconds after I chatted, Casey was answering questions. How many hours a day did you work to get this thing going, man?
Too many, a lot. There were a lot of late nights for sure, but it didn't feel like work, and it felt like I had an extra little battery pack on me that kept me going. Now that wasn't sustainable long term past the first probably 2 years or so. But yeah, I think that my average response time on new chats that came in was like 2 minutes, which today we have a whole team now. It's obviously a little bit, it's still really low. But yeah, and it's a little higher now because most of our team works normal hours. They shut it off, after 5, 6 p.m. or so. They bust their ass. They work really hard and they're amazing. They can do a better job than I ever have. But yeah, a lot of long hours. Definitely missed a little bit of sleep. I know it affected health. I have the lab work, the blood work to show that. So it definitely took a little hit, kind of health wise. But yeah, I love doing it. It didn't feel like work, and I've been very lucky. The last almost 6 years. Mondays, for a long time Mondays were my favorite day of the week. Always woke up super excited to get to work, and I think that's very special. And yeah, I hope as many people as possible get to feel that.
I mean, I think we take it for granted that TrueCoach is just where you go now if you want to deliver programming online. And you guys are a huge name in the fitness industry, and where coaches would default and go to. But obviously it hasn't always been the case. And FitBot, you started with a small group of coaches that grew over time. How did you get coaches in there, especially in those early years, and really raise awareness around what you guys were doing?
Yeah, so in the early days, it was through the network that I had built up through the 5 years of running our CrossFit affiliate. So got a very small group at the start. Not that many, but it was enough to gather feedback on and learn from. And then I think there might have been a post. Somebody dropped a post in a CrossFit affiliate owners group that summer, and got a little more traction that way. And then when the OPEX crew, adopted TrueCoach, that was a huge driver in our growth as well. Like that really accelerated it big time at the start. And then brought on my co-founder, Robbie, who started full-time January 2016. And we started investing in digital acquisition and like paid media really early on, even when we had really low budgets, just to gather that data and learn. And it's been kind of a combination of word of mouth referrals and driving growth through paid acquisition. I think the split's about 50-50 on where we get our customers. NPS scores are really high. I think close to 70 is where they've hovered since the beginning. Yeah, and happy customers are a great source of our growth.
If you had to redo it, if you had to go back to 2015 and redo it, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
Raised more money, hired and built a bigger team, been more aggressive. Obviously things worked out great, but I think, just looking back, there's huge validation, kind of what we've done. And I think investing heavier would have paid off for sure.
Were there any specific areas where you guys felt like you didn't have the resources you needed to deliver the product you wanted to, especially in those early years?
Yeah, I think mobile was probably the biggest area where we were kind of not where we wanted to be, So 90% of our users are on iOS, and when we had the chance to hire our first mobile developer, this is before React Native was popular, which is a popular cross-platform development tool. We had to bet on one platform. Obviously that was going to be iOS, and Android definitely got the short end of the stick there. Unfortunately, I think going back, I think raising more money, being able to hire more developers, and hire an Android developer sooner, or multiple Android developers sooner, would be one thing that I would do differently. I think teams of one can be challenging. I think going back, if I ever had the chance to not have a team of one, I would definitely choose that.
Did you when you first got this thing going, were your intentions to sell one day?
No, I really just wanted to solve a problem, and I didn't care. I had no idea what the business was going to turn into. I didn't know if it was going to be something just that was going to be big enough to support me working full time on it only. I would have been very thrilled, very happy, very fulfilled with that. To be like building tools for coaches. I'm very passionate about that. So very lucky that it evolved to be bigger than that. And really, we had no intentions of selling, really. So I guess for people that are listening might not know, we got acquired early 2020, early this year, kind of right before COVID hit. And we thought, we knew kind of ultimately, like, yeah, it'd be great to exit one day and make our employees and our investors very happy. But yeah, I had no idea that was going to happen this soon.
Would the valuation have been a lot higher if it was after COVID
Or
during COVID?
Maybe, yeah. So
because you guys exploded, man. You guys exploded.
Yeah, we're, I think, double the size that we were coming into the year. So definitely seen some rapid growth. I think, right after lockdown hit, there was a period of a few weeks where we were seeing 4 times the number of daily signups than normal. And also a lot of upgrades, people needing bigger accounts because, while gyms were closed, training people online was the only way that a trainer was going to be able to train their clients. So I'm not sure if the number would be higher now versus pre-COVID. Our growth has definitely been great since then. We definitely have more users, but the market's a little more shaky now. Valuations on companies are a little bit lower, so who knows how it would have worked out.
I'm just really curious, Casey, like what were the factors that got you to the point where you were able to do this so much sooner than you might have expected? Selling the company, I mean.
I think every step along the way was surrounding ourselves with great people, whether that was investors or mentors and advisors, and also the team. That was a huge component for sure.
So I think we talked about this before we hit the record button, but you just you're resigning from TrueCoach, right?
Yep, moving on. Yeah, so my last day is, I don't know when this is going to air, but my last day will be September 30th. So it's time for me to move on. I think, I need to be in a startup environment. That's where my strengths lie. Leading a team, leading a building. I really love the early stages because you get to move fast, and the bigger kind of corporate life just wasn't for me. Even though our acquirers are great, they got a great thing going. It's just not a fit for what I like to be doing, and kind of the skill set that I've developed over the last few years.
What are the biggest changes in being or the biggest differences in being in a startup environment versus let's just call it a more corporate environment?
Yeah, so the biggest, and you'll hear everybody talk about this, but is speed. So startups can move fast, and a startup with a smaller team can oftentimes outcompete an incumbent, a much bigger incumbent with a bigger team and a lot more resources. And a big reason of that is, startup can just move so much faster. And I feel like startups should take advantage of that for as long as possible. Move fast and build cool stuff.
Are there any trade-offs to that fast pace that you get with a startup?
Yeah, I think probably stability is the biggest one. Startups attract people that like to take risks. Most startups fail, and they can go to zero very easily. So you are taking a risk. Now the payoff can be nice if you do well, get lucky. I think the biggest trade-off is you give up some risk for stability at kind of a more corporate gig.
So does that mean you are a risk taker then?
Yeah, I'm definitely a risk taker.
Okay.
Started a couple businesses now, and I like to surf big waves, like to chase deep powder. Definitely a risk taker.
I mean, we're hearing about the success right now, but have there been any risks that haven't paid off over the years?
Geez, I don't know if there has been yet. Had a good run so far. Try to keep the streak alive.
And I know you don't know.
We'll see. Maybe that means I'm not taking big enough risks.
I know you don't know what you're doing post TrueCoach, but are you looking to spin something else up? Are you looking to join a group that's getting something spun up, or are you just going to kind of take your time and see what opportunities present themselves for you?
Yeah, I'm going to take my time. I think it depends on the mission. If I find that I'm really passionate about a particular mission, and that means joining a group and not being the one in charge, the one leading, then that could potentially be very fulfilling. I'd love to start my own business, start another business someday. No idea what that is yet, but it's so much fun. You learn a ton. It's been one of the best experiences of my life the last 6 years. Have learned and grown so much, met a lot of cool people, been able to have a decent impact, been able to help a lot of coaches earn more money and build more fulfilling careers. I'd love to and build a great team, create jobs and create an environment where people love where they work and are excited to come to work and feel like they're learning and growing a ton. It's such a cool thing, and I hope that I have that opportunity again, someday. But no rush in figuring out what's next. I'm going to take my time.
Having already done it, man, like what are you thinking about moving to the next one? Is it fulfillment? Is it mission? Is it, does it have to be in fitness? Is it outside of fitness? Like what are your what's your decision making process moving into the next venture?
Yeah, I really don't know yet. Um, I've thought some about that, but I really don't think I'm going to have much clarity until I can actually take a good amount of time off. Um, I I think it could probably either go one of two ways. I could start something and keep it really small and chill and low stress and do that, or go even bigger the next time and shoot for an even bigger outcome and build an even bigger business. So we'll see. I think it kind of depends on what really fires me up. I think something that's important is no matter what you do, pick something that you're super passionate about. Because building a business, I'm sure y'all know, building business, running a business is hard, and there's all kinds of challenges and roadblocks along the way. And if you're not passionate about what it is you're doing, you're going to quit and give up. So yeah, I think for me, being passionate is the biggest most important thing that I'm going to care about, and whatever comes next.
What are you going to do with that time off? Like what's going to happen October 1st? You don't have to roll into work or onto Zoom. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm hoping to go on a surf trip, but it's kind of hard to really get too many places now. Hawaii has a 14-day self quarantine. Flights to Nicaragua aren't open yet. Costa Rica is only letting a certain amount of states in. Can maybe get to Mexico or maybe somewhere else. So, yeah, that's priority number one. My wife and I are also working on starting a family. So that, who knows? I might be the stay-at-home dad. um, and then ski season is just right around the corner too. So hopefully there's lots of powder in my future. We just got a place up in the mountains, so I'm hoping to spend a lot of time up there.
What if game for a second, Casey? What if you didn't sell TrueCoach? Let's say, COVID happened. You guys were still rolling. You had the opportunity to move fast. Where would you guys be, not today, but where would you guys be going relative to where you're at now? Like what would be the things that you would want to change within the company? Like would you guys get in the AI game a little bit more? Would you guys lean into a different type of fitness? Like what would the roadmap look like for you guys at TrueCoach?
I think with COVID, online training kind of had its moment. You know, we've known about it for the last few years, but a lot of other people didn't take it seriously. And that was a huge validator into what we were doing. And you've seen, all kinds of new things in the space pop up. Just an hour ago, Apple announced their kind of fitness plus thing. I haven't had time to really learn a whole lot about what it is yet, but looks like it's like a Peloton type competitor. If we were independent, I think we probably would have raised a good amount of money and just gotten way more aggressive and really invested heavy in building the team and the product and really gone big.
So you guys would have essentially done the same thing, like your target market would have stayed the same, you just would have grown it.
There's so many things left to still build. There's so many ways we could do a better job on even the things I think we do a pretty good job at now. And yeah, I think we'd be, iterating on the platform and also looking at bigger bets that we wanted to take, like a marketplace, for example, helping match people that want training with a coach on the platform. That's something that, we haven't been able to do up until now. But, if we were able to make a bigger bet, that would have definitely been one of the bets that we would have placed.
So with COVID hitting, you guys saw a big influx of trainers into TrueCoach. Some of them would have had experience with individual design, but I'm guessing most of them hadn't done a lot of actual like program design for their clients before. Did that create like problems for how people were using the tool and using the app?
No, I don't think that in and of itself created any problems. I think, whether people are delivering customized, personalized one-on-one training or using the programs feature to deliver the same program to groups of people, I think we kind of hit both of their needs. There have been some interesting scaling challenges, though. With growth comes increased demand on your servers and hosting and database and all that. So, a good amount of our time the last 6 months has gone to really just making sure things stay running smooth. And Scale's definitely exposed some new and more interesting bottlenecks and things to streamline.
Casey, your last 2 weeks there, we're experiencing massive amounts of freezing issues. So if you could fix that prior to leaving TrueCoach, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I know the team's hard at work on those particular issues. And I know we're making small improvements already over the last few weeks, but we're still finding new things and new causes, and hoping to have that remedied in the near future.
Do you think that online training is something that is here to stay?
Yeah, so I saw some figures on e-commerce, how e-commerce has seen 5 years worth of growth, through the first 6 months of COVID. And I think the same thing's happening in online training. I think a lot of people are realizing, maybe this is a great fit for them. And I don't see it. It's definitely not growing as fast as it was kind of right when we entered lockdown, but it's not going to slow down post-COVID. It'll continue to grow. I think it forced trainers and coaches and gym owners to realize that if they wanted to build more resilient, more profitable businesses, then online training was going to have to be a service that they offered. They're just leaving too much money on the table to not offer it.
Casey, have you guys hit your peak yet and you're coming down, or are you still doing this with COVID?
Still growing. Yeah, we definitely hit the peak the first few weeks into COVID, but things are growing at the same rate pre-COVID, if not even still a little bit faster.
Yeah, you guys are doing some cool things, man. I know a lot of people listening to this podcast are grateful that you decided to spin this thing up, man, because it makes a lot of our lives really easy. Actually, we were on our last podcast with Todd Neef. We were talking about you and FitBot, and it was with Jesse. It was with Jesse. And I told him he had a very similar story. He's like, man, I started to spin this thing up, and then this Casey guy comes around and he's already rolling with it. And I'm like, shit, you were doing that too? I was in South Carolina spinning something up with Joe Tabaldi, and then I saw this FitBot thing, and it was exactly what we were working on. So first to market, man. Good work on you for that, man. But you guys have made it.
We're the first. There were others on the market before us. And there's even more popping up on the market now, especially since COVID. I think that's only going to accelerate. I think the space is only going to continue to heat up with new entrants into the space, and it's going to be interesting next couple of years to see what happens. Yeah. Going back to the gratitude thing, definitely flows both ways. I'm super grateful for all of the coaches on the platform that we've been able to serve over the last 6 years. It's been an awesome ride.
Cool. Yeah, man, in a much different way, but we talked about it and what we're doing on our side with CoachRx, and it's easy for us because we're like, okay, we want to serve our coaches that we educate. So it's really simple. The decisions that we have to make, it's like, does this connect to OPEX CCP? And if it's no, it's not in it. So God, I can only imagine the amount of things you're like, should this go in the system? Should this not go in the system? What should our roadmap really look like? So that's that's a tough spot.
It's a fine line. I think it could be really, really great if, you have a framework like CCP that you can plug into CoachRx, where it kind of acts as almost like guide rails for you to follow. And you could probably make decisions really quickly on what it is that, you need to work on. Versus a product where, maybe it needs to be more flexible to serve a variety of use cases. That can definitely get challenging.
I know you've only got another couple weeks there, Casey, but are there any like products or services out there that you do see as being big challenges to you guys, but then also to like the individual coach or gym that's working with their clients?
There's new competitors popping up, and who knows what the future holds? Who knows what they're going to be up to, what they're going to offer. I think it could get pretty interesting over the next few years. I don't think the rise of Peloton and Apple Fitness Plus and these other streaming services. I don't think trainers, coaches really have to worry too much about those. It serves a different type of customer, different market. If anything, I think it'll only get more people into fitness, hopefully, get more people to take their fitness and health seriously. And, maybe the Peloton and Fitness Plus could be a great feeder for coaches. People start off that way and then realize, oh, I need something more, personalized for me and my goals.
What about let's forget Peloton and Apple, but what about when we have automation that is inside a TrueCoach and spitting out perfect programs for clients? Where does the coach fit into that?
So I don't think people pay for the program, the sets and reps, or, I don't think that's where the majority of the value lies. I think the majority of the value lies in the accountability and the human relationship. That's one of the things I really liked about, when we rebranded from FitBot to TrueCoach. I didn't feel like having bot in our name really honored the human element. I think TrueCoach kind of spoke to that a lot better. I think if anything, AI and smarter tools around programming design will just free coaches up to focus more on everything else that goes into it. There's so much that goes into coaching. It goes far beyond, this goes far beyond just hey, do this exercise, this many sets, and here's B1 and B2, and et cetera, et cetera. It goes way beyond that. And I don't think coaches have anything to worry about with the rise of AI program workouts. If anything, it might make them more valuable because people will be looking more for that human connection.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because we just got off of a CCP call, and that was a good chunk of the conversation was the principles in program design are there. We're never really recreating the wheel. We're just kind of going in the memory bank and putting that stuff inside of TrueCoach. It's if that is automated one day, awesome, right? But only week 1 is going to be automated. It's if it's truly personalized, week 2, 3, 4, 5, that will have to have some level of human interaction or touch to it to really understand, what's right or not for that client. And like you said, it frees them up to not worry about spending, 3 hours a week on a specific client designing a training program where they're not recreating anything new anyway. It's just manual labor essentially.
Yeah, maybe those 3 hours a week they could spend towards, more one-on-one messaging and communication with their clients, or working on their marketing funnel, working on their business. And I think it's ultimately a great thing for the coach.
Definitely. So Casey, what about your own fitness? What do you do? What does your TrueCoach account look like?
So you see him repping the big dog shirt. So I've been on the bandwagon for, maybe close to 4 years now.
For context, that's Michael Ban. Just people are like, wait, what does that mean? Yeah. So Michael Band coaches you through big dunks.
He has his own hashtag.
Yeah, I got started up with Michael almost 4 years ago. And I've done let me try and, compete and be as fit as possible. I'm 36 now, so those days where I really care a lot about that are over. These days I really just want to be strong. I want to look good, move good, feel good. I want to be able to, jump on a mountain bike, a snowboard, a surfboard, play basketball, and, do all the other things I like to do too. And with real, a focus on health and not so much the competitive side of things, although that, who knows, maybe one day I'll get, back into that. But yeah, I came into it too with kind of some chronic back and hip stuff. I think when I first started working with Michael, my things are pretty bad to where, more than 225 pounds on the bar, I would get nervous and picking it up because I was like, "Ooh, this isn't gonna feel good." And I was way strong enough to like lift it. Used to like touch and go that weight on power cleans and stuff, but yeah, things got bad to where there were a lot of times, a lot of muscle spasms, and definitely time periods where it was really hard to just even walk when things were at their worst. Now, we've made a lot of progress there. I wouldn't say it's completely gone yet. Maybe who knows what the next few months hold if once my stress lowers even more, if that'll continue to improve. But yeah, when I started with him, I got nervous seeing 225 on a barbell. Now we deadlift twice a week and pulled close to 400 a few months back, which, not a PR, not the most I've ever done, but it feels great to be able to deadlift without getting nervous or anxious, back squat again. And yeah, that's been a lot of fun, really fulfilling, and he's been able to help me a ton with that.
Was it like the kind of training, lifestyle around it? Like what changed?
Yeah, a lot of everything, and I would say mostly lifestyle. So, the training is definitely less intense than it was before. I would say we lift weights 3-4 days a week with some type of conditioning on those days, and I try and get outside, hike, bike, snowboard, a couple other days each week, play basketball. But yeah, big focus on the lifestyle pieces for sure.
I just imagine you pulling up your TrueCoach and being overly critical on what's happening in the platform rather than worrying about A, B, and C inside of your training program.
Oh yeah, I've logged many bugs while working out.
It's the best way to do it, man. Actually get in there and use it.
I know y'all are more than, you're more than just CrossFit. You don't, only cater to that, but a large part of your audience are CrossFit coaches and people that want to compete in high level CrossFit competitions. Yeah. What are your thoughts around the new leadership there?
Yeah, I think from a company standpoint, it's promising, right? Because, I mean, the history between us and CrossFit, and it's not been a good one. So, I'll just leave it there. But, just communicating with Eric over email, it seems like that's all done, right? And yeah, it's promising, man. So, from a company standpoint, we're excited about it because, it's like, like you said, a lot of our audience is a part of that community. So to be able to collaborate with those guys on things and to be at their events and all of that going forward is going to be a really positive thing for us. From a personal side, and just like, the change and everything that's going on, I think it's good, right? Outside of all of the politics behind it and all of that stuff, just the restructuring of the season and stuff like that. And I think it feels good because it feels like it's going back to quote unquote normal because it's what we're used to. But I think a lot of positives are coming out of that right now.
Yeah, it's the first time I've been excited about CrossFit as a brand in probably 6, 7 years. And it was tough, the last year or so being an affiliate owner and really not being excited and jazzed up about, you know, CrossFit. Uh, that was challenging. But yeah, I think there couldn't be a better person than Eric to lead CrossFit. He's a great fit, and we had a chance to work with him over the last almost 2 years. He was our lead investor in our seed round, and we met with him every week, and he was crucial. He's awesome.
What makes you, obviously Eric's a great guy, but what do you think he's actually going to put in place that will, that's getting you excited?
Yeah, I don't know yet, but I imagine there's just so much opportunity, and he's going to breathe some new life into the brand. And I think I'm hoping for I definitely still want them to do the games. I want the games to grow and be a massive success. But for me, where I'm at personally these days, I'm more excited about the health and wellness and fitness side of things. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping for, I think, some better branding around that. I'm hoping for more quality control within CrossFit. So we had a member that had never worked out a day in his life, was a member for 3 months, and then moved away. 3 months later, moved back and was opening his own affiliate. And I'm sure we all have a lot of stories like that. Where someone goes from not working out, finding CrossFit, falling in love, being super passionate about it, their heart's in the right place, but maybe they shouldn't be programming workouts and that kind of thing. And I think I'm hoping for a little more personalization and individualization within CrossFit. I think, I think there's just so much more room to, y'all know this, y'all are big on the personalization aspect of fitness. Every human's different. So we'll see. I don't know, I don't know what's in store, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that latter comment, I think that's going to be challenging for them, right? Because they would have to change essentially who they are, right? And the constantly varied, high intensity, whatever comes after that, I can never remember it, but
Functional movement.
yeah, there you go. So all of that, it's like, how do you shift that up to, how do you put personalization or personalized or what the human needs or something like that in there? So I think that'll be challenging, but I would love to see them have a more clear and consistent message, right? Where it's like, because you mentioned it in the same sentence, right? You're like, I'm all for the, CrossFit games and the competitive stuff, but I'm really looking forward to the health and wellness stuff. So it's like, is it going to be a brand and a sub brand? Is it, are those two brands going to have two different missions, or, are they going to do what they've always tried to do and try to put that into one mission where it just starts to get weird, right? Because it's like the outcomes are so different, where it's like, how do you have one mission that lead to two bipolar outcomes? So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do there. And I'm sure it's going to take some time for, Eric and those guys to get their feet underneath them, because they have a lot to clean up. But
Yeah. And I know even the last few years, the previous leadership spoke a lot about, CrossFit health, kind of talking about that side of things, but I don't think we saw any of it really materialize or develop into anything tangible. So I'm excited to see where things are at 5 years from now in CrossFit. I think I'm very bullish on the future.
cool. Thanks, Casey. We appreciate it, man. Stay with us for more Backroom Talk. Yeah, that was a good conversation. I mean, it was good to kind of chat with him to see, what the evolution of FitBot into TrueCoach was, how much work it was to get that thing going, and just to understand the things that he would have done differently. They just sold the company back in, I think it was March, right before COVID, and they sold it for a lot of money. And it didn't seem like he got this thing up and rolling to make millions and millions of dollars off of it. So it was kind of cool to see work really hard, build something that there was a demand for, please all of the customers inside of there, and then you come out of the other end successful.
Indeed. I mean, that's awesome for him, and it was really interesting just to get like a bit of a backstory and hear from him what the early days of FitBot, now TrueCoach, were like. I think we so take it for granted that it's this thing we pull up on our computers or on our iPhones and it's just there and we use it, and that's how coaching is, but it wasn't always that way. So yeah, really interesting to hear the process of getting that up and running with that initial group of coaches, and yeah, great for him that it's blown up over the years, how it has.
Yeah, and he also mentioned that this is going to be his last month as CEO of TrueCoach, so he just resigned. So, you know, I'm sure they'll be fine. He's built something that, you know, they can just take a hold of and keep evolving over time. But yeah, I'm interested to see where he goes next, and if he goes to, you know, start a completely new company, and if he does, is it inside of fitness or outside of fitness? So yeah, excited to see where that goes.
Definitely for him, and then for TrueCoach as well. Like, are they going to keep down the path of providing the best platform for like fitness coaches, for people like us to be able to serve their clients? Are they going to get more into like the AI world and really just try to scale the heck out of this thing? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see the way that goes.
Yeah, on our side, we kind of felt the former a little bit, where it was like, oh, maybe they're not going to really dig into what we need them to do for us and our coaches specifically. And that's why we had to make that decision where it was like, okay, we need to build this thing for ourselves and for our coaches to use specifically, because who knows what their roadmap looks like. You know, 2 years down the road, our system may not work inside of that. And I wanted to ask Casey that, but it seems like he's not a part of the next 2 or 5 year roadmap. So it will be interesting to see where TrueCoach goes in that as well.
Indeed, and like, not to do an obvious plug, but you did mention CoachRx a couple times in the conversation with Casey. Could you just give us a quick little synopsis of what that is?
Yeah, so essentially what CoachRx is today is it's a platform that we built for our coaches to house their clients' data. So, you know, assessment data, consultation data, notes, program design, planning, you know, long-term periodization into daily planning. But what we don't have in it today is what TrueCoach allows us to do, which is to actually design training programs and send them off to our clients. So, you know, when we figured, because what we wanted to do initially is we wanted to kind of marry the two, TrueCoach and CoachRx, and allow, you know, our coaches and our clients to stay inside of TrueCoach and kind of just get this plugged in with CoachRx. And that just wasn't a possibility, at least over the next couple of years. So we decided to do exactly what TrueCoach is doing on the workout side, and we're going to add some cool stuff that's very specific to our market and that connects with CCP very specifically, with exercise and nutrition and behavior and all of that into one system. And it'll replace TrueCoach for our coaches and our clients.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what Steve, our developer, is able to spin up relative to what Casey did with TrueCoach.
Yeah, it's a challenge to not make it look like TrueCoach, right? But it's like, you know, they did things so well on the workout development side, and, you know, to be quite frank, like, we had a lot to do with that. Our coaches and at OPEX and Big Dogs, you know, provided a lot of feedback to make TrueCoach what it is today. So it's like we're obviously still thinking about those same things when we're building our platform. So there will be a lot of similarities, but there will be differences, especially for our coaches and the language that we speak and the things that we prescribe. And we'll have some educational aspects inside of that system as well, where we're actually educating clients on why they're being prescribed something, instead of just a coach saying, you know, go ahead and drink this many ounces of water without any context.
Yeah, which I think, not to get too lengthy, but with where TrueCoach is right now and the flood of coaches that are getting into it, I do think that's a problem if they don't have education behind them, and like quick and easy education that's there for them when they're actually writing those programs to their clients. Like, we're going to see a real watering down of the quality of the programs being spat out, and we care about the quality. You know, our mission as a company is to raise the value of a fitness coach and to help every person do their ideal version of fitness. And a program like TrueCoach or CoachRx is really an important part of that, but there has to be that education and quality control along with it.
Yeah, for sure.